Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Girls Like Who's podcast. I'm Tori. I hope you guys are having a great week. First of all, like, subscribe to stay up to date on new episodes of this podcast. Please, 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 please get in the comments and talk to me. I really appreciate it. I'm going to respond to last week's comments when I post this because I have this thing where I'm actually addicted to like looking at the numbers and analytics of things. So I have to like consciously make the effort to not do that. So I try not to respond and play on my phone too much when I initially post the episodes. So I'm going to get back to you, I promise. But please get in the comments. If you're on Spotify, interact with the poll and the Q&A. I'd really appreciate it. If you're not on Spotify, feel free to go over on Spotify and interact with the poll and the Q&A. I'd really appreciate it. I have a couple of things that I need to address before we get into the basketball stuff. So if you just want to bear with me for like 3 minutes, we'll get there. Or you can skip ahead. Whichever one you want to do, girl. I'm not going to hold you. You know what I'm saying? This episode did really well last week on YouTube. So again, I thank you guys so much for that. With that being said, I did get a comment last week and I did want to address it. I didn't want to respond out of emotion because that is typically something that I've done in the past and really something that I've done all my life, but we're not going to get into that right now. We're not going to get into that. But I wanted to come to it with with a better approach and to say something else. The comment was more so somebody wants me to talk about the Chicago Sky more on this podcast. And that's fair. I think everything that I do in my life when it comes to making content on the internet or when it comes to like making music or doing things that I care about and I'm passionate about, I want them to be perfect, right? So like every week I want this podcast to be perfect, and every week I know that there's something else that I can do better. At the end of the day though, I am the person who produces this podcast. I am the person who gets all the stats together for my notes. I'm the person who makes sure that I'm locked in and I'm paying attention to the conversation that are going on the internet. And I'm trying to I'm editing the podcast and I'm recording. I'm doing all these things. And it is low-key extremely stressful. And I try not to bring that energy here because it's not fun to think about. Like at the end of the day, I want to be having fun doing what I'm doing. And I am having fun when I'm doing what I'm doing. But like, it is like, I am struggling outside of this podcast. Like, not to get like super morbid or anything, but to be fully transparent. Like, I don't have a job. I am very privileged and lucky that my parents let me stay in their home and they don't charge me rent. And I'm looking for a job and I'm on my bare knees almost every single day praying that I get a job. Like, I apply for jobs and I hear nothing. I apply for jobs and I get rejection emails, and it is extremely hard. Basketball is something that I love and I appreciate, and something that I have my relationship with it is very complicated, but it's something that I've found love in again. And I really appreciate and love doing this podcast and building a community here and trying my best to leverage what I'm good at to get more eyes on these women who deserve it. Like, these women deserve so much recognition for the stuff that they've been doing for so many years. And that's the overall goal. And I'm so sorry that sometimes I do not have analysis of every single game and every single team. And I'm so sorry about that. I'm going to try my best to be better and to do better. But at the end of the day, like I said, I am just a girl. I'm just a girl who comes on the internet and goofs off at the end of the day. Like, I have things to say and I have thoughts and so many things going on, but I am sorry and I'm going to try to do better. At the end of the day though, this is still my podcast and I'm going to do what I want. I am. But like I said, I'm going to try to be better, and I'm starting to be better by watching every game. And I did that this week. So yeah, let's get into the basketball of it, I guess. That was so serious. This is awkward. Okay. Anyway, let me get my notes. Oh, actually, whoever's listening in Greece, you're real. I don't know if I've addressed that yet. I guess we'll find out when I edit it. But whoever's listening in Greece, I really appreciate you. You are so real. You're so real. Wow. Damn. You're really real. And I appreciate you. To the people in New York, you guys are the second most area listening, and you know what? You guys had a really good week for the Liberty. Congrats to you guys. I unfortunately have nothing but good things to say about the Liberty this week, which makes me sick to my stomach. But you know what? Thanks for listening, guys. I really appreciate you. Thirdly, Texas is second place in listening this week, and You know what that means? It means that we are extremely close to getting me Dallas Wings merch delivered on my doorstep, because I've noticed that there's not a package on my doorstep. I've noticed that because I be at the house with my dog. So I noticed that there's no package and there's no merch. So WNBA teams, wherever you're at, I will literally be a personal spokesperson for you. So please send merch. Email me, send me the DMs. Get in the DMs. My email's on my YouTube. That's my point. Okay. That's my point. Also, I need to say one more thing before we get into the basketball part. I've been forgetting to mention that this podcast has a Twitter now, okay? So if you want to follow that, feel free to do that. I'm going to put the link in the link tree, or I'm going to just link it in it's going to be somewhere, okay? Just know, it's going to be somewhere. I don't really know what's going to be posted there yet, but there's a Twitter page. And it's down in the description. Okay. Last week on Spotify, I asked, will the Connecticut Sun make it to the championship this year? We had one response. Yes. And that's actually from somebody who's a longtime friend of the podcast, okay? And by longtime friend, I mean, we began following each other on Instagram when I released the first episode. And so, girl, I see you supporting me. But she responded and said, it'll be close, but no cigar this year in my prediction. And darn it, I agree. And what's so great about this question and response is that one of their games this week, I'm going to break down why I think that. Anyways, for the poll question, we have which team will end in the bottom of the standings this year. I have Mystics, Dreams, Sparks, and I put the Fever just for kicks. But we had 0 votes for the Fever, obviously. For the Mystics, we had 2, the Dream 1, the Sparks 4, which is so fair, and that is actually the best answer because their games this week, wow, the Sparks are down. Okay, the Sparks, they're in trouble. Anyways, this week's Q&A question will be, who do you think was snubbed in the All-Star voting? And I don't really know what the poll question is. Yeah, I'll decide later. But if you have an answer to that, feel free to get in the Spotify Q&A stuff over there on Spotify and answer that question. Okay, anywho, all right, let's get into All-Star selections. This week's Q&A question is actually going to be, who do you think was snubbed in the All-Star voting? And to me personally, my snub is Ezi Magbagor. I feel like she's been playing really great basketball. I just feel like people aren't paying attention to it, which is unfortunate and upsetting. But you know what? Okay, girl, whatever you say. For the WNBA All-Stars, we had DeWanna Bonner, Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, Alicia Gray, Dearica Hamby, Brianna Jones, Jonquel Jones, Kayla McBride, Kelsey Mitchell, Arike, y'all are never gonna catch me mess that girl's name up. Yeah, you're really not. Nneka Ogwumike and Angel Reese, which, okay, that's pretty good. For the USA Women's National Team, we have Nafisa Collier, Kalia Copper, Chelsea Gray, Brittany Griner, Sabrina, y'all not about to catch me messing her name up, Jewel Lloyd, Kelsey Plum, Brianna Stewart, Diana Taurasi, Alyssa Thomas, Asia Wilson, and Jackie Young. This is honestly going to be really exciting. I'm going to be super transparent. People may disagree. I'm not really one to be shady or anti on this podcast. However, I do think that there are better players in the WNBA than Kelsey Mitchell. That's just me. Though. I really questioned whether or not I was going to say that this week, but if I'm honest, I think that like, to me, everybody else makes sense. I'm not saying that Kelsey Mitchell isn't great. It's just, I feel like a lot of fans who watch Caitlin Clark and are following her to the Fever and stuff, they voted for those 3. Again, Kelsey Mitchell is really great. I do think that there is another guard who is probably at her level, if not better, that should have been voted in. But hey, I didn't even vote, so I'm going to shut the hell up. Okay. Yeah, I didn't vote. I didn't. And I'm going to be honest, I never vote. I don't vote here. But you know what you should be voting for? You should be making sure that you're registered to vote in the upcoming election in November. Okay. Glad we got that out of the way. This week's episode is for June 28th through July 4th. That's what we're covering, okay? So Friday, June 28th, we had 2 games. We had Dream versus Sun and the Sparks versus the Mercury. The Dream won, the Mercury won. Let's get into that. First of all, Dream versus Sun. The commentators were Ashley Battles and Brendan Glasheen. Yep, that's his name. I gave them an 8 out of 10. They were sharing some good restaurants in the area to visit in Connecticut. Apparently, Ashley Battles even told us about a restaurant that has a short rib lasagna. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and go watch the replay. And you can go catch the name because I surely didn't. But also, I won't be in the Connecticut area anytime soon. So, anywho, I like Haley Jones and Jordan Canada on the floor together. I really loved that. This game in particular, I thought it was really fun. I was slightly concerned about how that would look, how them playing together would look before Jordan Canada came back, but I don't mind it. I think having 2 ball handlers on the floor has been good for this team, and I think the Dream just really struggled to generate offense outside of Alicia Gray. So with Jordan Canada back, being able to facilitate well, and also I think she's gonna get her offense up and going as the season continues. I think it was only like her first or second game. I think it was her second game. It was only like her second game back. So I have no doubt in my mind that she'll be contributing offensively. And once Ryan Howard comes back, I hope that we're going to get into that a little bit later. But this game was really close the entire time, and the Dream didn't look as lost as usual this week. So that's an improvement. You know what I'm saying? That's an improvement. I'll take it. For the Dream, Alicia Gray proved why she's an all-star that game, and Jordan Canada sealed the deal for the win. Aerial Powers went out in the third quarter with a lower leg injury, so we're sending great vibes to her, hoping that she heals up and will be back playing soon. They tied the game with 5 minutes left in the fourth, and I'm not going to lie, I did not think the Dream was going to win this game, but they somehow pulled it out. And so you know what? Congratulations to them. This team does look so different with Jordan Canada in the mix, and honestly, I'd be talking a lot of trash about the Atlanta Dream, but the more that I watch them and the more that I watch them this week, I think it's like the little child inside of me who grew up watching. It's coming back, and it's like, oh, I just want to see them succeed, and it's, we'll see what happens. But they had 19 turnovers, and I thought it was really crazy that the Sun could not capitalize on that. Honestly, it was kind of shocking to me. They also had 18 turnovers. So, I mean, at the end of the day, if you aren't not turning the ball over, it doesn't really matter if the other team is. You know what I'm saying? But I liked the Dream this game. I did. They were getting a lot of points in the paint, and I think that that's really great because that's how the Sun play. They play a lot in the paint and going to the rim and trying to get their free throws and fouls. And in the end, they were ultimately the team that won this game. Alicia Gray had 17 points, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks, and she shot 6 of 10. She did really great, and I'm so happy that Alicia Gray is an all-star. Congrats to her. Yes. Don't add applause to that, Tori. Don't do that. Anyways, for the Sun, Ty Harris struggled this game to produce on offense, and I feel like that's kind of like a continuing thing for her. No shade. I just have noticed that that's more of an area where she struggles a little bit. But I think taking Dejanay Carrington out of the game and having Harris take that 3 was a strange decision to me because she was definitely cold towards the end of the game. I think Ty Harris was shooting a little bit better like in the first half, but to have her take that 3 instead of Dejanay, who was 3 of 6 that game, I think was a confusing decision to me, which I get it. She's not necessarily like an offensive juggernaut or anything, but she was shooting the 3 well that game, and I think that had she shot that one, they probably would have won it or at least tied it up. I would have put my money on Carrington. She was 3 of 6 from 3 that night, and she had hit some big shots and put them back in the game at different points, so I thought she deserved to take that shot. Maybe it's just me. I want to give an honorable mention to Rachel Banham. She was hitting a 3 from the hip when they needed it the most, and she tried her best to get them that game. She really did. She tried her best, but they just wasn't enough. I think what I want to talk about here is the Sun reliance on the free throw line. I think it's very interesting to me because I just can't see that being a sustainable way of play for the rest of the season. Or like even for like the whole season. And this is going to be like a really strange comparison, but when I start playing 2K, like a new game of 2K when they come out every year. I play 2K Arcade on Apple, on like my little iPad. I have a little control and everything. Anyways, that's the point. When I play on there and I'm getting my player together because I don't have all the skills or the badges that I need, right? I go get fouls. That's how I get my minutes up, because in order to get the skills and the badges you want, you have to play, you have to have minutes, you have to have money, you have to have all these things, right? So in order for me to get more minutes, I make sure I go to the free throw line so that I'm getting my points, I'm getting my stats up. Now, can't shoot, can't make layups because I don't have the skills to do that yet. But because I'm going to the free throw line, it looks like I'm playing better than I am. When I know I don't stand a chance of getting any points, I get in the paint and go to the free throw line. And that's how I get more minutes and more coins to buy new skills. This is going to sound kind of harsh, especially considering that they won like the other 2 games that they played this week. But I think that that's a very rudimentary way to play. And I know I'm not professional. I can't go out there and do what they do. But to me, I just don't think that this is how you win a championship. I don't think, like, it's working right now, yeah, but I don't think that it's going to be the thing that wins anybody a championship. And that was my biggest takeaway of this game to me. Not to say that the Dream aren't good, because they actually look very decent as of this week with Jordan Canada coming back, but I just don't think that this is a sustainable way to win a championship. And for that reason, I don't think that they'll be winning a chip this year. And yeah, no chip this year for them, I fear. DeWanna Bonner still struggling during this game. She shot 4 of 14. She was 7 of 8 from the free throw line. Had 16 points, so can't really be like too upset about the performance there. Alyssa Thomas was 4 of 9, 6 of 9 from the free throw line. Dejanay Carrington had 16 points, 4 rebounds, 3 steals. She had a great game that night. She was 4 of 10 and went to the free throw line for 5 shots. So she got maybe the call on like 3 of those shots. I don't remember exactly, but she probably got an and one and then was fouled on 2 of those shots. So again, still, you're not hitting shots to win. You're just going to the free throw line. Ty Harris was 2 of 9. Shot 2 of 7 from 3, finished with 6 points. And to me, from this game, the reason that this play style isn't going to win a championship is because on nights like the one that they played against the Dream, the refs were just letting them play. Unless like a foul was like apparent and very blatant, they weren't calling it. And they were complaining a bit about the no calls. And I think when you rely on like calls from the refs and you don't get them, you lose games, which you saw here. And to me, that's just not, like, when it comes to like watching other championship contenders like the Liberty, the Aces, the Storm, even the Lynx at times, it's kind of like you're not seeing them like trying to get to the free throw line that bad. You don't see them relying so heavily on the paint every single game. Like, they have different offensive schemes. And yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I'm not going to say that they're not going to the playoffs, or maybe that they won't even, maybe they'll make it to the finals. I don't think so. I don't think anybody's at this time presently is beating the Liberty outside of the Aces, but I'll be interested to see it. There are 2 great players on this team, and DeWanna Bonner and Alyssa Thomas, but I think that this team just needs something else. And I don't really know what it is. And yeah, sure, they won some of their games later on this week, but it's not like they're winning by a huge or large margin. And I think that that's going to be something to watch as the season continues. For the Sparks versus Mercury game, the commentators were Annie Myers-Drysdale and Cindy Brunson. And I'm going to be so honest, these are like my least favorite commentators, I'll be honest. Like, actually, they're not my least favorite, but they're like maybe like 1 or 2 steps above. They're just super biased, which you can say that about the Storm guy, but he just seems so excited to be there. But the Mercury commentators, no, they don't be cooking or eating for me. Anyways, for the Sparks, I think what the trend that you noticed in this game and then the games throughout the week is that this team they're in games until they aren't. And it's like they play really great basketball for 3 quarters every single game, and then the wheels fall off in the fourth and they lose. And that's exactly what happened here. I think they played great basketball for like 2.5 to 3 quarters, and then the other team just found a way to slow down Hamby, and the rest is history. They got cooked. De'Erica Hamby gave you 29 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. She was 11 of 17 and 4 of 5 from 3. This was a good night for her. There's not a night where she doesn't play great, honestly. Rakia Jackson had 14 points, 6 rebounds. Ari McDonald, she had 12 points, 10 assists, 3 steals. They have people showing up to play. It's just the closing part. I think that you need a closer, or I think you just have to figure out who's going to help you close the game. I think it has to be better decision making at certain points in the game as well. And, I don't really remember if this game was where they had problems with turnovers, but even with the Mystics game that I just watched, it was like at the end of the game, like late game decision making. What are we doing? How are we doing it? And, bad screen. This is the whole thing. We have things to work on, but I think that they're still like getting good production from some of their players. Then for the Mercury, I have a shot plot pitch that I'm going to put right here. The Mercury played well, and it's because they weren't relying on the 3-point shot, which, wow, it's crazy what happens when you don't play that way. Wow. Who would have thought? Anyways, they had more points in the paint than the Sparks. Diana was the only one who really shot the 3 this game. She was 5 of 8, and she shot well, obviously. Diana Taurasi had 20 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. Kalia Copper had 24 points, 5 rebounds, shot 9 of 18. It was mostly from driving and mid-range. So, again, not having Kalia Copper sit on the 3-point line and try to figure something out. Who knew that was a winning recipe? Who knew? I knew. BG had 18 points, 11 rebounds, and Natasha Cloud had 14 points, 7 assists. I think the key to the Mercury winning this game was not forcing Kalia Copper to live on the 3-point line. Obviously, she can hit the shot. I'm not denying that, but I think that she's at her best to me when she's getting downhill and pulling up from mid-range or just shooting closer shots to the basket. I think 2 things can happen for this team. They either need to become extremely efficient, or the coach needs to move away from that heavy reliance on the 3 and change up the offensive scheme based on their matchup and based on how they're shooting night, or even how they're shooting at the half. If you really want to focus on shooting 3s at the beginning of the game, sure, that's fine. If it's not going well, change up the offensive scheme. I think him wanting this to work so badly confuses me, because the commentators want me to know every single game that this is a man who gets paid. Yes, this is his first time coaching women's basketball, but they make sure I know that he has the criteria, that he's meeting the standards. He's coached G League teams and he's been a part of coaching staffs for NBA teams, but his reliance on the 3 and his inability to change when things aren't working out for that offensive scheme is confusing to me. For the Misses versus Aces game, the commentators were Megan McPeak and Christy Winter-Scott. I thought they did a good job. They weren't super biased, so I'll take that as a win any day I can get it. For this game, some of the notes that I had before we get into the stats, Asia Wilson was definitely out of bounds on that pass in the 4th quarter. She was absolutely out of bounds. And when they did the replay 2 or 3 times, and the refs never going and reviewing that, was actually crazy, because that foot was all the way out of bounds. Anyways, how nobody saw that, we may never know, but hey, I'm never going to be against my team. You know what I'm saying? I'm never going to be against my team. Ariel Atkins was putting her body on the line this game, took a lot of charges, and I thought that was really great. Ariel Atkins, honestly, she plays really well every game. I think it just comes down to this team just isn't fully healthy, and they be out there trying. They go out there, and I think that she's a great example of somebody who puts their body on the line to win games, or even to give them the opportunity to win a game. And I don't think you can ever be mad at that. So Ariel Atkins, keep doing what you're doing. You're probably not even listening to this podcast, but keep doing what you're doing, girl. Julie Van Loo was facilitating and passing the ball really well this game. She had 8 assists. So honestly, keep cooking, Julie. For the Mystics, I think they had This is kind of like the same thing with the Sparks. They were really in the game for 3.5 quarters. Steph Dolson shot well. She stretches the floor so well. I said that every week, but it's the truth. She shot 5 of 6 from 3. She was cooking. 23 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. Maisha Hines-Allen had 14 points and 5 rebounds. For the Aces, Asia and KP struggled this game for sure, but what's so great about this team, I think, and what should be so great about every team is that even when there's somebody or a couple of players who aren't playing that well or they're getting shut down by the other team's defense, you have other people to step up for them. And Jackie Young did just that. She had 26 points on 8 of 12 shooting. Chelsea Gray had 22 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. She was so efficient. She was shot 8 of 9, and she was 100% from 3 on 3 of 3 shooting. Chelsea Gray was cooking. Okay. Tiffany Hayes had 17 points, and again, this was just a really great game for them. It was close. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, the Mystics they blew the Mystics out or anything, which they actually did on Thursday, but we're not going to get into that. But it was a really great game for the Aces, and I just really like that this team is coming together. And again, I was never worried. It was not a question or a doubt in my mind. I thought once Chelsea Gray came back, they were going to look like a very different team, and they do. So congrats to them. It's a good win. For the Storm versus Wings, the commentators were Dick Fain and Elise Woodward. I'm going to give them an 8 out of 10. They are super biased, but I really like the Storm. So 8 out of 10. JC Sheldon was playing some really great defense on Jewel Lloyd. And by really great defense, I mean, she was moving with her. It just didn't matter. Yeah, it just didn't matter. It's kind of like watching people or one person who's not an elite defender, guard Steph. It's ooh, you were there, you were with them. Just didn't matter. Bless your heart. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. Unfortunately for the Wings, after the first quarter, the Storm took the gloves off and cooked them, I fear. You hate to see it. You really do, because you guys know I like both teams, but the Storm went out there and finished the job. All-Stars were in double figures, and they were passing the ball well as a team. Honestly, it looked like I was watching the Harlem Globetrotters out there. You hate to see it, but you love to see it. As a Storm fan, I love to see it. I love to see it. Where is my Seattle Storm merch? Seattle. I don't know who I need to get, because here's the thing. I know people in Seattle are watching. They're listening. They're watching. So I'm waiting for my merch. That's all I'm going to say. I'm waiting for my merch, Seattle Storm front office. I'm waiting. Sue Bird, if you're listening, I'm waiting for my merch. Anyways, Jewel Lloyd, 30 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, hit 16 of 17 free throws. Wow. Jewel Lloyd is honestly having a really great season. I know that she's not going to be in the MVP conversation probably, but she's having a really great season, and I don't think that should be ignored. Nneka had 16 6 and 5. Jordan Horston had 12 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists. Jordan Horston played really great that game. My sister actually watched this game with me, and she was like, I love Jordan Horston's hair. Congrats. Anyways, for the Wings, I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say. I have the 3 stats, and you guys lost. It's sad. It's really sad. I'm still waiting on my Dallas Wings merch, because I know they're going to come out of the fire like a phoenix rising from the ashes. As soon as their players are healthy, they're going to come back in there, and I think we're going to be looking at a very different team in the second half of the season. But Arike Egumbawale had 24 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 steals. Great game from her. She's always putting the team on her back, trying her best to do so. Tierra McCowan had 15 points, 6 rebounds. Natasha Howard had 12 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. Natasha Howard was out there honestly cooking. Great vet for the locker room and great vet for this team. Keep doing what you do, Natasha Howard. Sunday, we had 3 games. First game, Dream versus Liberty. The commentators were Pam Ward and Rebecca Lobo. It got a little biased. It did get a little biased, but you know what? We were there. I was sat for the game. The Liberty won, obviously, but it wasn't a big win, okay? It wasn't huge. They didn't get blown out, okay? For the Dream, Jordan Canada in the starting lineup for the first time. I think she pushed the ball really well in transition, which I think is something that you definitely need to be doing when it comes to playing against the Liberty. So great job from her. They went on a 22-6 run. They held the Liberty to 13 in the first quarter. They got back within 3, which pre-Jordan Canada's return wouldn't have even been a possibility. So I'm seeing the improvements from the team. I'm seeing how important it is to have a point guard, like a real true point guard. Haley Jones, she was out there and she was making it work. I'm not even gonna, no shade, she was making it work. But Jordan Canada, having her out there is so necessary, and I'm seeing how important it is for this team. They had a lot of points in the paint, and maybe that's the issue. Damn. That is the issue, isn't it? They need more shooting. I think they definitely need more shooting. When Ryan Howard comes back, though, I really hope that they don't abandon the good work that they've done getting other people to contribute offensively. With that being said, they also did turn the ball over 15 times, and that also could have been the issue. That was actually probably the main issue. I don't really recall, but 15 times is crazy. We got to take care of the ball. Got to take care of the ball better, Atlanta Dream. Alicia Gray had 24 points, 5 rebounds. Tina Charles had 16 points, 12 rebounds. Cheyenne Parker-Tyus had 12 points. Jordan Canada had 9 points, 5 rebounds, and 9 assists. Honestly, I don't think you can ask for too much more from any of these players. They're contributing what they typically contribute. And I think once you get Ryan Howard back in there, it's going to be, the offense is going to flow a little bit better again. I would hate to see if Ryan Howard comes back, or when Ryan Howard comes back, you see people take a step back from contributing outside of Tina Charles and Alicia Gray. Anywho, notes for the coach. Yes, I have notes for you. Tanisha Wright, I do. If you're going to be in the paint for your point, I think that you definitely need to be getting more fouls. You need to be going to the free throw line. And I actually have a shot plot. We need to work on that. We need to work on that, I think. We really do. I think a rotation is definitely going to need to be established at some point for this team. And I think a second unit would really help this team like make a leap offensively, because that's really where the Atlanta Dream struggle to me, is like getting offense. Like their defense is fine, sort of, kind of. But like the offense definitely feels slow. Like it's like either Alicia Gray and Ryan Howard and Tina Charles are completely like offensive push, but you obviously need help from other people. So I think if you have a second unit when Ryan Howard comes back, I think Haley Jones obviously won't be starting. So I think if you have like Aerial Powers and Haley Jones as your 2 guards in the second unit, and then maybe you have Nia Coffey at the 3, and then Cheyenne Parker-Tyus and like, I don't know who the backup center is, but like whoever they are, or actually that might be Cheyenne Parker-Tyus. I know that she can play the 4 or the 5. I don't know what you need to do there, but I think establishing a second unit would really help this team. And also it like having that second unit, it would really push them to need to be more offensive. Like the offense is so bad. Like sometimes it just does not flow at all. And I think that if you have a second unit that's led by Aerial Powers and Haley Jones, it would really help. But I do like Haley Jones and Jordan Canada on the floor together, because I think it gives you more options. Like you have more people to facilitate. But I do think Aerial Powers does well facilitating as well. So I think if you have Aerial Powers, Haley Jones, and then that first unit you have like obviously Jordan Canada, Ryan Howard, Alicia Gray, and then whoever the hell else there is. I think that would be really great. That's just me, though. I think that would really help this team turn things around a little bit offensively. And what I've noticed a lot is that a lot of these players seem nervous to take shots. They're all very hesitant. They're like overpassing sometimes. And I think that this team would do really well with needing to come up with offense with their minutes on the floor alone, without Ryan Howard, without Alicia Gray. And it would also help cutting back on Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray's minutes so that their bodies aren't like, heavy wear and tear. That's just me, though. Notes for the coach. For the Liberty, for this game, obviously, like I said, the Liberty won. Stewie had some great footwork on some of her shots. They just weren't falling, which was unfortunate. But at the end of the day, Brianna Stewart stayed poised when things weren't going her way. And even though she wasn't cooking until later on in the game, she still had a great game and contributed to her team winning. Brianna Stewart had 22 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. But Nigelani Hamilton, she was doing spin moves on the Dream. And honestly, when she was doing those little spin, and it was crazy because it was like her back to the basket, and then she would spin and just hit it. And if you don't like play basketball, like you don't know, like that's actually really crazy. But when I saw her doing them little spin moves on my people, I was kind of like, damn, we're cooked. We're cooked, and we were. She had 18 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. And they said Sabrina was under the weather. The commentators really wanted me to know that. So I wanted to relay the information to you. And so I will not be mentioning her stats at this time. But them other two, they did what they need to do. Next game, we had the Lynx versus Sky. The Lynx won. God bless. I'm always going to put my money on the Lynx, but not actual money, hypothetical money, because I actually don't bet on other people's performances, and I would actually never do that. So, because it's so up and down, it's so hit or miss. Like, I'm not about to mess up my coins. You know what I'm saying? Not that I have coins, like we addressed earlier in the episode. Anyways, for the Lynx, what I learned from this game is I want Bridget Carlton to shoot more. I think after her performance in the Commissioner's Cup, I've wanted to see that high level of offense that she showed us that she's capable of doing then. And so it's like now I know she's capable of doing that and I want to see it. However, I don't know if I want to be seeing it anytime soon, which really sucks. And I think it's unfortunate because she's a good player. Obviously, I think something I've seen from the Lynx, and people talk about the Lynx on Twitter, is that this is a system team. And so if it's not like your time to shoot, you don't. And I don't know. I think I would like to see her put up more shots than I'm seeing, but we'll get to that in a second. I was recording my reaction to this game on TikTok, so if you're interested in watching that video, it's in the description. But I was talking a lot of trash during that video. I was, because the Lynx were not cooking at all at first. And I was like, girl, what are we doing? Like, we need to tighten up. Ever since that Commissioner Cup, I've just kind of been like, the Lynx have to take that next step. Like, they have to keep playing the way that they did then. And I've seen them kind of not. And it's really frustrating. And I was talking a little bit of trash while I watched the game. But it's like almost like they could hear me from where they were at. Like, I don't know if it was like a mental telepathy mind wave kind of thing. But while I was talking trash, they really started to clean it up. They did. And they didn't want to embarrass me because they know I was going to post that video on TikTok. So they made sure that they won this game. Alana Smith took a tumble during the game. She hit her back really hard. And it did look like it hurt. It did. And if it had been me personally, I would have had to go take my ass on that bench. Like, yeah, she stayed in the game, which good for her. But for me, I would need to go take a good old seat on the bench with some Gatorade and an ice pack. Anyways, Xanda Lasini, which I'm pretty sure I've been saying her name wrong. First of all, I want to address that. Her name is Chechi Xanda Lasini, and that's my bad. That is my bad because it doesn't look like it would at all be pronounced that way. It looks like Cecilia, but it's not. So I wanted to be respectful of people's names. So my apologies, Miss Xanda Lasini, at this time. Basically, Chechi saved them. Yeah, saved them bad. Hit a deep 2 on them, on the Sky, of course. Let me try again. Xanda Lasini saved them bad, saved them bad, put them back in the game. And I was talking trash. I was like, you need to take Xanda Lasini out right now. And then she hit a deep 2. And then she hit a 3 to put them back in within 2. And I was like, you know what? Let me shut the hell up. I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about, actually. Let me sit back and watch the game at the house on the couch. Yep. And she ain't here. I've said nothing bad about her ever since then. Ever again. I will never question your talents, ma'am. Kayla McBride had 16 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. She hit all those shots at the free throw line. Good looks, Kayla. Keep doing what you're doing, but you actually didn't keep doing what you were doing later on this week. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Nafisa Collier, not one of her best games. Yeah, not one of her best. By her standards, I mean that. That's not like me saying that like her having 13 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, and 3 blocks isn't a great game, because it is. It's just offensively, usually she does a little bit more. By her standards, by the MVP caliber that she's been playing at, 13 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, and 3 blocks is just not really her typical, but I'll allow it, because that's still a good stat line. I think some people told me in the comments of my video that she was probable to play this game because she has a wrist injury, which actually made a whole lot of sense. It did. And typically, I'm not somebody to give leniency on, oh, they were injured. I'm really not. It's really like, typically for me, it's like, if you were out there playing, I will judge you based on what you did that day. I will. But I'm going to give her a pass on this one. I am, because that was still an impactful stat line. Not only that, but on the WNBA stats website, you can see and like watch, they put a little compilation together. You can watch every single shot that somebody took. And she was missing some very makeable shots for her. And I'm talking like extremely makeable shots. Like I'm talking was smoking some layups and it was bad. And I watched every single shot that she took that game. And I was like, damn, that's not Nafisa Collier. That's not Nafisa Collier. And so you know what? I'm going to close my eyes to that performance. I am. I didn't see anything. And if anybody asked any questions, my eyes were closed the entire time. So I have no clue what you're talking about. Very impactful stat, like I said, just not her typical offensive contribution. All I'm going to say there, 13 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, 3 blocks. Doing that, that's still MVP caliber play. With the wrist injury, hey, MVP. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Courtney Williams, she came through for them when she needed to. I would be lying if I didn't acknowledge that sometimes not in this game, well, actually sort of kind of in this game, because I think that she didn't start hitting any shots for real like that until like later on. And really, I'm just being really hard on this team this week because I'm just really upset that they lost their game against the Sun, which I have things to say. That pissed me off, actually. I've been pissed off about that game, about that loss since last night when I watched it. It almost made me not want to watch the Aces game that came on after that. Like, but I'm not going to say anything about that right now. We're going to wait. We're going to wait for that. Sometimes Courtney Williams does disappear when we need her the most. With that being said, I'm going to give her a pass on this because I know what you're thinking. Tori giving a lot of passes right now, but yeah, I'm going to give her a pass on this because playing the point guard after years of playing or being the 2 is a very hard transition that I will acknowledge. I will acknowledge that. Sometimes you're thinking so much about facilitating for others, you're not thinking about how you could help contribute to the offense. So I'm going to give her a pass on that. I am. Atlanta Smith gave you 11 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 blocks. Congrats to Atlanta Smith. You were playing your butt off that day, especially once you took that nasty fall. Anyways, for the Chicago Sky, Kennedy Carter was definitely cooking Bridget Carlton. I'm not even gonna lie. There was a point when she had like hit this like between the legs, hezzy, and just shot the ball. And it's not even that Bridget wasn't there. It was just that I think she gave her too much space, first of all, yes. But like she was there. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, she was barely paying attention. She didn't even put her hands up. She was there. It just didn't matter. It really didn't. She was cooking the hell out of that girl. Damn. The Sky were up at the half. They just couldn't get the job done. And honestly, it was really close in the fourth quarter. They just didn't win. Kennedy Carter had 15 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. Lindsay Allen had 13 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 blocks. Angel Reese had 10 points and 16 rebounds. She's continuing on that streak, of course. Marina Mabrey gave you 11 points. Now, here's the thing. We need to talk about Marina Mabrey for a second. She gave you 11 points, yes, but she shot 4 of 17. And I went back and I watched every single shot that she took. And we're going to have to work on that. We're just going to have to work on that. I think some of these were okay looks. Some of them. Some of them were okay looks. Obviously there were 13 shots that weren't made. 13 of them. That's a lot. That's a lot of shots. I thought some of these, like I said, were okay looks, but she didn't have enough space. She didn't have enough space to get them off. And if I'm honest, if she believes she can make them, then I believe it too. But watching all 17 shots in a row was really crazy. And I think that maybe there were like 8 of them where I thought, maybe we passed that. Or maybe we try to get more space, or maybe we try to get a foul call. But at the end of the day, I get it. Shoot or shoot. Can't even be mad at her for real. And honestly, I couldn't go out there and, well, actually, I'm not going to say that I couldn't go out there and give you 11 points because I think that I could. Like, if I'm going to be really transparent, I think I could go out there and give any team 11. You know what I'm, okay, well, maybe not the Sun. Actually, you know what? I would give the Sun 11, and they would all be at the free throw line. But you know what? I could go out there and do it. At the end of the day, I'm not getting paid to do that. It's not me. 4-17 is crazy work. I'm going to give you a pass on like 5 of them. 5 of the ones that I'm going to give you a pass on, because you made 4. I'm going to give you a pass on 5 of them. The other 8, we could have done better. We could have. But you know what? Like I said, shoot or shoot. Can't ever be mad at it. It couldn't be me. Next, we have Fever versus Mercury. We need to have a serious conversation about the Fever versus Mercury game this week. First of all, I went on TikTok and I said, Mercury got it. Okay? That's what I did. I said, oh, my money's on the Mercury. And that's my own damn fault. I should have never even said anything of the sort. That's my fault. First of all, first thing I'm going to say about this matchup, ESPN pissed me off this game because I am just so sick of the agenda pushing. It's so tiring. Why are we in the middle of a game comparing Diana Taurasi and Caitlin Clark? ESPN is not beating the allegations that they're pushing a certain narrative, and it's not shocking, but it is disappointing nonetheless. Diana Taurasi has been playing for 20 seasons, and Caitlin has barely been in the league for half of one. So yeah, I have a very large problem with being like, here's what Diana Taurasi's done, and here's what Caitlin Clark has done. They're not comparable. They're not comparable at all. At all. They're not. Anyways, I think that the reviewing of plays was taking forever. And so, Kathy, go ahead and get on your Zoom. And actually, Kathy, stay on the Zoom call because we have to have a conversation about Thursday's game, Aces versus Mystics, and the Amazon Prime situation. We have to have a talk about that. So go ahead and stay on your Zoom, Kathy. It was 38-51 in the third quarter. And I think what I'm upset about, again, with Nate Tibbetts is you're telling me Nate Tibbetts has all of these accolades and all of this experience, and that's what the commentators tell me every single game I watch for the Mercury. It's always, he's getting paid this amount of money, and Nate Tibbetts he's been a part of coaching the G League and coaching this and that and the third, and I want to know how you have a 38-51 point lead in the third quarter. Well, actually, was it at the half? I don't know what it was. At some point, it was 38-51. And you're telling me that you dropped the ball and couldn't close the game out. That you gave up a double-digit lead. That's what you're telling me. This man who's making all of this money and all these things, I'm supposed to sit here and believe that this is the man who's going to bring this team to the promised land. The answer is no. And if Nate Tibbetts still has a job by next season, I'm going to have questions, actually. I'm going to have questions. How do you get out-coached by Christy Sides? I want to know right now. Actually, I would really like, somebody's going to have to answer for this. How do you get out-coached by Christy Sides? I'll wait. I've never been so disappointed, actually. Do you have absolutely no shame at all? Because I was ashamed sitting at home. So there's absolutely no way that you went home and you were like, damn, I did pretty good today. There's no way. There's no way, Nate. Mind you, this is the same man, like I just said, that every commentator talks about how what a glowing resume he has, but lost a double-digit lead to Christy Sides and company. I'm supposed to be taking that seriously, though. I don't think so. For the Phoenix Mercury, Nate Tibbetts should be jobless. I'm going to get that out the way first. You know, at first, I was really ashamed to come on here and say that because people on TikTok were like, that's not nice. He only had one bad game. That man has had more than one bad game. I've seen every single bad game. So that man has had more than one bad game. And I'm not ashamed to say it anymore. Nate Tibbetts should be jobless. He should be. He must answer for his crimes. Not a shocking loss at all. It wasn't shocking to me. But you know what? It doesn't mean that I wasn't still upset about it. This entire team, they're too emotional. They're too emotional. There are just too many texts. There were too many texts this game, but there are too many texts almost every game, okay? This team has got to be more poised. Now, actually, let's talk about the fact that they got cooked on fast break points. Indiana had 20. They had 5, okay? I get it. Younger team, but that's still inexcusable to me. Again, Natasha Cloud is the player of the game on the stats website, and that is always going to be a problem. That's never not going to be a problem. If Natasha Cloud is your best player that game, you have a problem on your hands. Natasha Cloud had 15 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 4 steals. Brittany Griner, 24 points, 6 rebounds. Diana Taurasi, 19 points, 3 rebounds, 3 steals. Kalia Copper, 3 of 15. And you want to guess why that is? Does anybody want to guess why that is? Because of the reliance on the three-point shot. This man, I don't know how many times things have to go wrong for this man to understand that you have got to change the offensive scheme. I'm not even going to waste my breath anymore. I'm not even going to waste my breath on that anymore. The Indiana Fever, Christy Sides putting Christy Wallace on Diana Taurasi at the beginning of the game was very unserious decision for me. Again, I don't know how you lose to that, but Nate Tibbetts, one thing about Nate Tibbetts, he's going to find a way. He's going to find a way to disappoint you every single week. Early on in the game, the Mercury were locking Caitlin up. They were. Old girl could barely get past the half court line. She was in jail. Couldn't even dribble the ball good, but you know what? They won the game. Though they turned it around in the second half. Caitlin Clark had 15 points, 12 assists, 9 rebounds. Aaliyah Boston, 17 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Nalissa Smith, 12 points, 15 rebounds, 2 steals. Kelsey Mitchell, 16 points. Timmy Fagbenley, 10 points. I think she had 7 rebounds. I need you to have a little bit of shame, Nate. There was no reason for y'all to lose this game. There was absolutely no reason to be losing this game. I can't even look at you anymore. I might have to abstain from Mercury games for the rest of the week. Monday, we had 2 games. First being Sun versus Mercury. The commentators were Ann Myers-Drysdale and Cindy Brunson. This was a slightly insufferable game to listen to being commentated. That's all I'm going to say there. For the Mercury, it was a back-to-back game, and honestly, I probably would have lost the game too if I just went down to the Indiana Fever. Not a shocking loss. They didn't have Diana Taurasi, but this was still a winnable game in my mind. Sophie Cunningham and T-Mac were in the starting lineup. Honestly, from the tip-off, this team just felt very low energy that night, and they were never winning this game. Let's call a spade a spade. They were never winning this game. They were out-rebounded, and again, Natasha Cloud was player of the game. And you know what that means. They lost. Natasha Cloud had 18 points, 10 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals. Any game when Natasha Cloud is the person who is playing the hardest, you're going to lose, okay? Kalia Copper had a better shooting night tonight. 21 points, 6 rebounds. Brittany Griner, 21 points. That's all I'm going to say there. Again, I'm not wasting my breath. I'm not even going to waste my breath on that. The Connecticut Sun, they had more second chance points. Luana Bonner wasn't even cooking this game. Again, this was a winnable game, but nothing but disappointment coming from the Phoenix Mercury at this time. To lose this game, I'm shaking my head. But again, not shocking. Basically, everyone was playing efficiently. Brianna Jones had 18 points, 7 rebounds. Dejanay Carrington, 16 points, 8 rebounds. Alyssa Thomas had 10 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. Veronica Burton has honestly been getting more minutes for the past few games, and she's been playing really well. She had 11 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, shot 3 of 4, and was 3 of 4 from the free throw line. So congrats to Veronica Burton. Hope you keep getting minutes. Next, we have Wings versus Storm. Obviously, the Storm won. This was a really tough game for the Wings again. Honestly, I thought the refs were just calling everything, and I didn't love that. The pace of the game was so slow. I didn't love that. I wish they would just let them play. Nika Mule got minutes. She got 7 minutes, I think. She had a really great hustle play. They were trying to get her first WNBA points. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. But you know what? She was out there. She was out there trying really hard. So can't be mad at that. For the Dallas Wings, they came out playing well, and then they started getting cooked for the rest of the game. Much like the first game they played this week against them. Fast break points killed them. Truthfully, they were never winning this game. Nobody's really playing well on this team right now. They honestly just look super defeated, and rightfully so. Like, I still love the Dallas Wings, so if you guys want to send me merch, like, I would gladly take it. I know that things are going to turn around for you guys, but as of right now, unfortunately, nothing but stinkers. Arike Agumbawale had 21 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 steals. Great stat line, honestly. Putting the team on her back, another game. I know she's tired. Natasha Howard, 15 points, 6 rebounds. Odyssey Sims, 12 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. And I think she actually went down and she hit her head. So hopefully she's okay and doesn't have a concussion or anything. But yeah, those 3 played hard. It just unfortunately wasn't enough. The Seattle Storm, Jewel Lloyd had 26 points this game. NECA had 14 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Ezzy Mabagor had 12 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Again, snubbed from the All-Star game. But I rest my case. On Tuesday, we had 4 games, which is so unfortunate for me. My goodness. Sorry, we're checking the time. On Tuesday, we had Lynx versus Liberty. I watched the beginning of this game, but it was my sister's birthday, so we went out to eat. So I only watched the first quarter, but I went back and watched it, so I'm still an icon. Lynx versus Liberty. I don't know what to say about this game. This was honestly probably the beginning of my disappointment with the Lynx. These are 2 very good defensive teams, but I think only scoring 8 points in the fourth quarter is absolutely crazy, and I'm confused as to what happened there. I watched it, but I'm still confused. I think I cut it off at the beginning of the fourth. I think I cut that off. I did. Not to be messy, but Jonquel Jones definitely pushed the hell out of that girl. She did, but I rest my case. I'm not going to say anything further. Also, the commentators pissed me off talking about that foul and how I don't think she was trying to do anything malicious. You could clearly see her push that girl, but you know what? 0 out of 10 for the commentators. They made this game unbearable. Which was unfortunate because my team was already losing, so it was already unbearable. But for them to go and add icing on the cake was really crazy. For the Lynx, disappointing loss. Again, seeing them play so well in the Commissioner's Cup and then not seeing that same energy here, really unfortunate. I think not locking up Jonquel Jones was probably one of their mistakes. I mean, they locked up Brianna Stewart for a little bit, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to get the job done. I think you have to lock up Jonquel. You have to. I have a couple of notes for the Lynx. I thought the defense on Sabrina was very unserious at times. It mostly like sticking with the screen, or it's not even about going over the screen. It's about where is the defender who's supposed to be switching. Like, at some point, Sabrina needs to see a body. And she was just going to the rim, and I was very disappointed. Bridget Carlton took 1 shot this game. 1 shot this game. This Lynx team, you're not doing anything with Bridget Carlton shooting 1 point. Like, not even 1 point. Because I don't even know if she had points this game. She shot 1 shot. Actually, I think she had 3 points. Or was it like 1 point? I don't remember what it was, but I know that she only shot 1 shot. And she didn't make it, okay? Kayla McBride shot 17 points. Courtney Williams had 9.7 rebounds. Visa Collier had 15 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Chechi Zandalasini had 12 points. I'm going to be watching this Lynx team and seeing so much potential. I feel like I'm watching the Golden State Warriors last season, and I watched every single game of that season, and I tell you that I was disappointed more than half of the time when I watched that team. It's like I see the potential and I see that you're so close to getting there, but you're just not able to do it. And that's what I feel like I'm watching when I watch the Lynx. These past 2 games, I need them to step it up. I get it. Nafisa Collier is struggling. That's when somebody else needs to step up. But that's enough of that, because I'm actually really upset about Thursday's game, and that's what I'm going to be spending most of my energy on. For the Liberty, they had the most fast break points, second chance points, and points in the paint. Basically destroyed the Lynx. I find it crazy that Brianna wasn't even having a good game. That's what's really crazy. Brianna wasn't even having a good game. If it was like Brianna and Jonquel aren't having a good game, oh, they would have won this game. But that's just not what happened. Brianna Stewart had 17 points, 17 rebounds. Yeah. You heard that right. 17 points, 17 rebounds. Jonquel Jones had 21 points, 12 rebounds. Sabrina had 17 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Very disappointing game for me as a Minnesota Lynx fan. Next, we have the Sky versus Dream. The Sky won, obviously. Damn. Here's the thing about this game. Technically, I watched it. I fell asleep and then the game watched me a little bit. But I woke back up. I didn't rewind the game. But I was there, though. I was there. So then I was like, you know what? I'm trifling with that. Let me go and watch the 10-minute game instead. I fell asleep during the 10-minute game. I think that that's very telling. It's kind of just like, what did you want me to say? Like, never mind. I did watch like the first half, though. So here are my thoughts. And I watched like the fourth quarter, like a little bit of like half of it. Like I woke up. I just didn't rewind what I had missed. For the Dream, they were in it until they weren't. They kept it close the entire game. They just weren't able to finish it, which I think is, again, the problem. Jordan Canada is a difference maker for this team for sure. I think you see that in all the games this week. The Dream just look less lost. They look a little bit more cohesive, and that's definitely what you need. They got beat in the paint, and they were out-rebounded, unfortunately. Alicia Gray had 19 points. She had a fairly efficient night. She was 8 of 13. Congrats to her. Again, she's great. I don't know what more there is to say. There's nothing more that you can ask Alicia Gray to do. Tina Charles had 19 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 assists. Jordan Canada had 11 points and 7 assists. Cheyenne Parker-Tyus had 11 points. And to me, and for me for this game, Haley Jones was 3 of 6. And I want to see her take that next step. I would really like to see her more aggressive on offense, and I say that all the time, but I really do want to see her give us a little bit more on offense. I want to see her not afraid or not hesitating to take shots, because I think that she is capable of making them. Again, I think everybody on this Dream team is talented and capable of doing a lot of things. We're just not seeing them do that, unfortunately. But I think that the Dream definitely have obviously things to work on, yes, but they have a lot of talent here, and I think that they can do big things if they want to. If the coach wants to, they can do big things. Anywho, for the Chicago Sky, same thing as usual. This is kind of why I don't really cover it. Kennedy Carter was cooking. She gave you 26 points and 4 assists. Dana Evans shot really well that night. She had 14 points. Angel Reese gave you that double-double like she always does, very consistent. 12 points, 19 rebounds. This is kind of the point in the day, because I actually watched this game today and fell asleep. That's what happened. I watched so much basketball this week in the past few days that I don't have anything to say. I don't have any analysis, really. They played well. Congrats to them on winning. Marina Mabrey took less shots this game. Good win. A win is a win. A win is a win. As long as she's not taking 14. Or how many was it? It was 4 of 17? I don't remember what it was. But it was a big gap. And she took less shots this time. And so can't be mad at that. So congrats to them. Next, we have Fever versus Aces. I definitely watched most of this game. I watched 3/4 of this game, the first through the fourth. I don't really remember too much about this game. I'm going to be honest with you. I watched it live. And if I watch it live, then that was Tuesday and today's Friday. So it's just gone from my memory, really. But the Fever were there at points, you know. They weren't not in the game. You know what I'm saying? I watched this game. I just don't really remember. All I remember is that Kelsey Plum was cooking. And maybe that being the only thing that I remember is the key takeaway. Kelsey Plum cooked. Yeah. That's the takeaway. Kelsey Plum cooked. For the Fever, Kelsey Mitchell had 23 points. Aaliyah Boston had 18 points, 11 rebounds. Melissa Smith had 14 rebounds. Caitlin Clark had 13 points, 6 rebounds, 11 assists. For the Aces, Kelsey Plum had 34 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. I want people to put respect on Kelsey Plum's name. This is the girl who had the scoring record. This is the girl. Put respect on Kelsey Plum's name. Asia Wilson, put respect on that name. 28 points, 9 rebounds, 2 steals, 5 blocks. Jackie Young, 15 points, 10 assists. Kia Stokes, 12 rebounds. This was the catalyst game to me for this team because their next game is how I think they'll be winning their 3rd championship. We're right back to where we were last season, blowing the doors off the first 3 quarters, and then the 4th, they get to rest, okay? This was a catalyst game for them, and I'll explain more when we get to Thursday's game. Next game and last game we had for Tuesday was the Mystics versus Sparks. Ari McDonald deserves her flowers. That's what I have here in my notes. I was looking at the notes crazy because there's no notes. That's what's crazy. The Sparks played 3/4 of good basketball, and then at the end, this was actually a really tight game. That's the last game I watched before I started recording. It was a really close game. Stephanie Talbot it was the moving screen, and I'm not gonna say that is the only thing that cost in the game because it's not. Things kind of started falling apart in the 4th quarter in general. Again, I think that they need a closer. They need somebody to just kind of come in, or even just need somebody to just give them an extra push to get the job done. And they unfortunately didn't have that this game. The Mystics played well. I thought I would really like to see more of Jade Melbourne. I really would. I would like to see more of her. I don't really have the stats for this one, but I think I fell asleep at the beginning of this game, which is crazy. Nasty work. But I technically watched it. Technically, I watched the 4th quarter, so actually I watched like half of the 3rd and the 4th and like a little bit of the 1st before I fell asleep. But yeah, I did fall asleep watching the Atlanta Dream one and the Sky one, and then I went and fell asleep during the Mystics versus Sparks one. Yeah, and what about it? Anyways, Sparks gave you a good effort. Ari McDonald, I hope I said her name right the first time. Ari McDonald, she's facilitating really well, and Ray Burrell's playing well, and there are a lot of people playing well on this team. It's just unfortunately not enough. They just have to figure out how to close the games and how to win them. You know, they work really hard for 3 quarters, and they had to figure out how to work hard all 4. That's all I'm going to say there. Mystics played really well. I'm sure, probably as usual. Julie Van Loo had hit a big shot, if I recall correctly. I'm pretty sure she did. Was Steph Dolson playing this game? She was playing this game. She wasn't playing the Aces game. You know, the Mystics, they're figuring it out. They're figuring out how to play well, and I don't think you can ask for too much more than that. On Wednesday, we had one game. God bless. We're almost at Thursday. On Wednesday, we had... What do we have? Oh, on Wednesday, we had the Mercury versus Wings. Obviously, the Wings lost. I hate that for them, but they obviously lost. The Mercury shot better from 3 this game. Again, I think that you have to determine if we're going all in on the shooting 3s offensive scheme, and if it's not working in the first half, you switch in the second. Didn't really matter because they just shot well this game. 5 starters in double figures. Kalia Copper had 34 points, was very efficient that night, 14 of 20, and was 3 of 4 from 3. Brittany Griner, 2 points. Really? 2 points? That can't be it. I think there has to be more than that. It has to be because I have 10 of 14 shooting. Yeah. I don't know what the number is. It's probably 22. I probably forgot to click the number again. Anyways, just imagine the numbers. Brittany Griner had however many points, 8 rebounds, 3 steals, and 2 blocks, and shot 10 of 14. Diana Taurasi had 16 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 10 of 11 from the free throw line. Beck Allen had 14 points, shot 5 of 8, and 4 of 5 from 3. Natasha Cloud had 11 points and 20 assists. Wow. 20? That's crazy. Wow, they really were shooting well that night. That's crazy. Anyways, the Dallas Wings, and what's crazy is I watched that game. I just don't remember it. Anyways, for the Wings, Arike probably should have passed the ball. I remember this game. I do. I remember this game, actually. I remember this game. That is so unfortunate. Damn. Arike probably should have passed the ball. Yeah. Oh, yeah. In the closing minutes of this game, Arike definitely should have passed the ball when she took that 2. I think it got blocked or it didn't go in. One of the two happened, and she definitely should have passed the ball. There was also a moment when JC Sheldon was open. I don't remember who had the ball or what happened there, but whatever happened, that other person was trying to go for like a layup or something, or go for like a shot, or maybe try to get the foul, I don't know, but the shot got blocked, and I was kind of pressed because I think that they could have won the game in the closing minutes. They just didn't like execute right or well, and they didn't really pass the ball, and it was just, I think sometimes they settle for shots and it becomes this whole thing. But this was a close and winnable game in my mind. Odyssey Sims, I think, also should have passed the ball out of the triple team, but instead they turned the ball over. Natasha Howard had 36 points and 11 rebounds. It's a shame. That's a really great stat line. Shot 11 of 15. Very efficient. Arike had 26 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. That's a great stat line for her. Odyssey Sims had 13 points, 6 assists. Kalani Brown had 8 rebounds. Again, a great showing for them. They went out there and they tried. Unfortunately, they just weren't able to close it out. And I think, honestly, they could have beat the Mercury. If the Fever can beat the Mercury, the Wings can beat the Mercury. In my mind. That's just me, though. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But it was a winnable game, unfortunately. It just didn't happen. Thursday, we had 2 games. God bless. It's the final. Jesus, thank you. Thursday, we had Suns versus Lynx. And here's the thing. This game upset me greatly. And you know what? There were people in my TikTok comments because here's the thing. I recorded a video on me during watching this game. I was like, yes, I'm about to go home and watch this game. Like, I was so excited. And I was talking about how the Lynx were going to win. And I look goofy as hell. And what's crazy, there were people talking about the Sun had such a great game and AT played great and Dejanay Carrington played great. And that is not at all what I want to hear. I was on there talking about, yes, like the Sun might as well go ahead and pack it up. Because the Lynx, we about to win it. We're done. We done won the game. And we lost. I may never recover from this, actually. First of all, I want to start by saying this, because this game is the real analysis. First of all, the Lynx, I want to start by saying this was a winnable game. This was a very winnable game. Like I said, I look goofy as hell talking about the Sun. Might as well go and pack it up because my team's going to win. And then Nafisa Collier went out with a non-contact foot injury. And we were toast. We were cooked. We were toast. And it's just not right because I think that I have adjustments. I have adjustments that could have been made to win this game. This week, like I said before, is like watching the Warriors last season. I see that they have what it takes. They have what it takes to win. They have the ingredients. They just don't seem to be able to put a recipe together. And that's what the problem is right now. I see so much potential in this team, and then it's like everything just comes crashing down, and I feel like I'm watching a train wreck. When Nafisa Collier went down, the lineup should have been that second unit that came in when the starters were stinking it up and the Lynx were down 9-20. That's what the lineup should have been, but it wasn't. And here's what my revised lineup in at the end of the third quarter and the beginning of the fourth would have been, I would have had Olivia Akupa in there. That's first of all. I would have had Olivia Akupa in there. I would have had Bridget Carlton in there. Not defending Alyssa Thomas. Not defending, because I noticed that she kept going under the screen, giving Alyssa Thomas a little too much space. And I don't know where the other defensive person was at that was supposed to be going in for the switch or the possible switch, but they weren't there. They weren't getting there quick enough. The defense just looked confused. It looked very confused. I would have had Kayla McBride in there, Dorka Juhas, and Elena Smith. And I think that would have been, and maybe then afterwards, if Bridget Carlton wasn't getting the job done, I'd put Chechi in. I think that would have been a winning lineup to close out the game. It wouldn't answer all of the problems for what's probably to come if Nafisa Collier is not okay and not playing. But that's what I would have done. Me personally, that's the lineup that I would have had, and I think that would have been a winning lineup to close out this game. Dorka Juhas didn't go back in until there was like 2 minutes in the game left. I felt like that was sabotaged. I felt like I was watching a chop job happen in real time. I felt like I was watching the Warriors last season. Every game I watched from the Warriors that was so close to them winning and they lost, that's how I felt watching this game. I haven't felt that emotion about a basketball game in such a long time. I am actually still reeling at the fact that they lost this game because it was very winnable. Next we have, it was my next note. Bridget Carlton going under the screens, which I just addressed. You're giving Alyssa Thomas too much space. And if Alyssa Thomas can see the floor, you're in trouble. But I'm also concerned, like I said, where is the switch? Like, where is the switch? Where's the person who's supposed to be defending the screener? Because where are you and why are you not showing a body to Alyssa Thomas? But that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't even have stats for this game because I don't even want to look at their stats because I can't even look at their stats right now. I'm so upset with how like game management went. Like there was like no timeout calls or anything. Like I'm confused. I don't understand. But you know what? I'm going to shut the hell up. Anyways, this game had me so upset that like I was like, I can't even watch the Aces game, which actually I barely got to watch the Aces game. Kathy Engelberg, come to the Zoom call. Get on your Zoom right now, Kathy, because I want to know why do we even have a deal with Amazon Prime, Kathy? Amazon Prime should not have live sports. And here's the thing. People were acting like I was crazy when I said that a couple months ago. I was like, Amazon Prime shouldn't have live sports. They're not responsible enough to have live sports. And we were proved that last night. Like, where was the game at? Where was the game at? I didn't even see most of the second quarter. I had to guess what happened. Actually, it was like the second half of like the first quarter to like the beginning of the second. What are we really doing here? Like truly, what are we doing here, Kathy? And then you didn't even have it on the WNBA app. So I'm gonna need you to figure that one out. I'm gonna need you to figure that one out, and you're gonna have to get something together because I think that this is actually embarrassing. And we need to work on what's going on with the broadcasting. That needs to be the next thing that we work on. Like charter flights, blah, 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 all the other bullshit. We need to work on what the hell's going on with the broadcasting. Okay, that's what we need to work on. Anyways, for the Sun, DeWanna Bonner had one of her best nights shooting in a very long time. Dejanay Carrington had a big time block on Kayla McBride, which was absolutely heartbreaking for me to watch. I can't even look at the replay. I have to scroll past it, and it's everywhere. I have to just scroll past it. I've never wanted to see a team go down more than I wanted to see the Sun go down that game. Okay? That's what I wanted. And that sounds terrible, but I wanted to see them lose. I did. I'm not even going to sit here and deny that. I'm not. DeWanna Bonner had 24 points, 9 rebounds on 10 of 16 shooting, and she would have a good night against my team. She would do that. That's exactly how I felt about the Warriors. People would be in shooting slumps. They would be, oh, they only had 5 points, and they'll play against the Warriors, and it'd be, oh, they had a breakout 25 points per game. They would do that, and that's what I get. That's what I get. That's what I get. That's what I get. Dejanay Carrington had 17 points, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block. Alyssa Thomas had 13 points, 10 rebounds, 14 assists, okay, triple-double, 2 steals. Veronica Burton, again, getting more minutes. She got 9 points and 4 steals. Good for her. Lastly, we have the Aces versus Mystics. And here's what I'm going to say here. In this Aces versus Mystics game, the Mystics got cooked, grilled, blanched, roasted, fried, poached, steamed, simmered, baked, boiled, braised, smoked, seared, sauteed, and many more cooking methods. They got cooked, okay? To the point where KP, Jackie, and Asia, they just went to go sit down in the fourth quarter. They just went to go sit down and rest up. Drink their electrolytes, get their, rest up for the next game. That's how bad they got cooked, okay? Like I said, I already cooked Kathy on the Amazon Prime situation, but Kathy, you need to work on some things. You need to get in the office and work on some things, okay? For the Aces, Chelsea Gray, I think being out at the beginning of the season may have been the best thing that could have happened for the Aces. I said this earlier on in the episode, but Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum being able to take on more facilitating has really changed this team, and I think this is going to change. This is like the change that they need in order to get their 3P. And honestly, I think that the way that they're playing right now is on the level and caliber of being able to beat the Liberty. And I'm ready for the next Liberty matchup because I think the Aces are easily taking it, honestly. I think it's for the best for this team when there's less leniency on Asia Wilson to need to be the best every single game, because you have 3 number 1 picks on this team and you also have Chelsea Gray. And I think if you're able to take a lot of pressure off of Asia, it's going to be for the best in the long run. So Kelsey Plum is heating up. Jackie has the ability to really get it going when, it's time to do that. And I think that this team is going to be great to watch for the rest of the season. I think they force a lot of turnovers in the third quarter. Kelsey Plum was out there finishing around the rim like Steph Curry, and I don't make that comparison lightly. That's one of the reasons why Kelsey Plum is like one of my favorite players to watch. She finishes around the rim so well, and she also shoots the 3 very well. She was 6 of 9 from 3, shot 10 of 13 in general this game. She had 28 points, 3 assists. And honestly, I want people to put respect on Kelsey Plum's name, especially with the football pass to Asia Wilson in the third quarter. All I'm saying is put respect on KP's name. That's all I'm going to say. Jackie Young had 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 10 assists. Asia Wilson had 18 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks. That's an MVP level stat line right there, okay? The Mystics, they were out there trying. Can't say anything more than that. They didn't have Steph Dolson, so that's somebody who typically contributes to offensively and defensively as well. Ariel Atkins gave you 18 points. Shatori Walker-Kimbrough gave you 19 points and honestly was cooking a little bit at the beginning of the game. Emily gave you 10 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. This was honestly, in general, that was a really great game, that one, but also this was a really great week, I think, for basketball. I watched every single game, and I'm never going to shut up about that, truly. My predictions for Friday's games, because I didn't watch them, and I don't know who won. I know that one of the games was really close because the notification dropped down on my phone, but I didn't really read it. For the Friday's prediction, we have Dream versus Wings. I think the Dream are taking that one. I hope, fingers crossed. For the Aces versus Sparks, I'm going to go Aces, obviously. Well, actually, they didn't win that necessarily. It's not obvious, but they didn't win the last time they played the Sparks. But Aces, because they're on a really great roll right now. And for the Sky versus Storm, I'm going Storm. Yeah, I'm going Storm. And they're at home. They've been winning at home. So, yeah, those are my predictions. Let's see if I'm right next week. Again, if you guys want to talk in the comments, I really love it and appreciate it, and I will respond. If you want to get in the poll on Spotify, if you want to do the Q&A on Spotify, please feel free to do that. It'll be so great, so awesome. And thank you guys again so much for listening this week. My throat is super duper dry. So I'm gonna go, but I thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next week. I'm excited for the Olympics. I will be watching men's and women's basketball. I have Peacock, so I'm gonna have it, and it's gonna be in my mind. But yeah, I'm excited for the Olympics and to cover that. So it should be really fun. I'm gonna see you guys next week. Bye.